All right, hello lads. So we're going to have a look at some strategies for the area and volume. So the first kind of strategy is to do with our 2D shapes. So we look at some 2D shapes. Let's have a look at our triangle first of all. So for a triangle, for its perimeter, let's say it has three sides, A, B, and C, then its perimeter is just going to be A plus B plus C. Okay, simple enough, just add up the three sides. For its area, you have to get a perpendicular distance. Now sometimes that's internal and sometimes it's external, but they should match. Once you know the perpendicular distance from the highest point to its opposite side, okay, all you do is half the base side multiplied by the height, and that would always be the area of the triangle. Okay, now I'm going to show you an example and I'm going to show you what they're most likely to do. Okay, so let's take a triangle and let's say that the height is 10 centimeters and the base is 20 centimeters. Well, then the area of that triangle is half the base by the height, which is going to be half of 20, which is 100 centimeters squared. Now imagine they do the same story, but the height is missing, but you still know it's 20 wide, and they've given you the answer. So in other words, you know that the area is equal to 100 centimeters squared. Well, then how do you go about getting the answer? Well, then you put the 100 on this side, and you still have your sum, half the base by the height. And in every one of these types of sums, all you have to do is leave the letter that you want, and with all the other numbers, make a fraction on your calculator and let that get the answer, in this case 10. Okay? So that will be your strategy. So sometimes they let you do a straightforward one, other times they want you to work in reverse. If you're working in reverse, set it up so you put your answer equal to the bits you know, and then divide across by the bits you know and leave the bit that you don't know on the side. So that's your triangle. Now, let's have a look at our circles. So again, terminology is important here. This is the center. A line from the center to the edge is the radius. A line right from one side to the other through the center is called a diameter. Okay? A diameter is equal to 2 radius, or the other way around. Okay? Half a diameter is 1 radius. Okay? So it works both ways. Okay? The distance around the edge, okay, the distance, the whole way around the edge, the distance is called the circumference. Okay? Now, if you have a circle and you take a slice of that circle, that's called a sector. Okay? Pizza slice is called a sector. So there's all our terminology. So now let's have a look at how the maths works around these. It all revolves around two formulas basically. Okay, so let's take a radius of 5 centimeters. The formula for the area of a circle. So the area formula is just pi, that's a button on your calculator, multiplied by r squared, which is the radius squared. So in this case, it's just going to be pi multiplied by 5 squared, okay? Which is 25 pi. If you don't use a calculator, that's the first answer that should appear. So look, pi multiplied by 5 squared is 25 pi, and then I can change it and I get an actual answer, which is 78.54 to 2 decimal places. Now, sometimes they want you in terms of pi, and sometimes they want the actual answer. So be careful which one they want. Okay? To get their circumference is equal to 2 pi r. So that's 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by r, which is 5, which is 10 pi. So that's your in terms of pi answer, and that'll just be in centimeters because it's just distance. Or 10 pi is 31.42 centimeters long. So there's your two basic bits: area, circumference. Nothing too crazy about that, that's the way it works. Let's see how it gets a little bit harder, okay? Let's say you have a slice, a sector taken out, okay? And all you know about this sector that's been taken out is that it has an angle and it has a radius. And you might want to know two things about this. You might want to know the area that's been taken out or the area that's been left over, or you might want to know there's the length, the circumference of that little arc length, just that bit, or the circumference of what's left over. So let's show you how you do that. So first of all, let's do our easy one. Let's get the area of the whole circle. The area of the whole circle is just pi r squared, which is equal to, in this case, pi multiplied by 14 squared, which is 14 squared, 196 pi centimeters squared. So there's the area of the circle. Let's get the circumference of it. That's 2 pi r. So how are we going to do that? 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by r. So that's 28 pi. So that's the area of the full thing and the circumference of the full thing done in one go. Okay, so now let's have a look at this small little sector. So that if you think about it, if I know the full area, then if I could figure out what fraction that is of the full area, I'd know. So how do I work that out? Well, how do I turn this into a fraction? Well, I know that 60 degrees and the full circle is 360, so it represents this fraction of the full circle. And if I multiply that by the full area, I will get the bit of the area that just belongs in here. So 60 divided by 360, that's 1/6, multiplied by 196 pi, and that is 98/3 pi centimeters squared. That's the area of just that bit. And I can use the same method, 60/360, and multiply by the full circle's circumference to just get this bit. So that's 1 divided by 6, multiplied by 28, 14/3 pi centimeters. So I can find a little bit or the full bit just from that. Okay, so that's how you use the circle to do different things. And the same tricks can apply here. Sometimes they give you the answer and they'll ask you to find bits. So for example, here's one for you. The area of a circle is equal to 803.84. Find the radius. So we'll set it up. We know that area is equal to pi r squared. So that means 803.84 is equal to pi multiplied by r squared. Now remember, what's our trick? We divide across by the things we know. We know pi, so I'm going to divide him by pi, and that will give me the number squared. To get the number, in this case, all I'm going to do is get the square root of this. And that should give me roughly the answer. Square root fraction 803.84 over pi 16 to the nearest. So there you go. That's how you do those type of questions. Okay? Right, so that's the basic shapes. And now listen, they can add these shapes together and do magic things with these shapes. But the reality is that's how to do all the basic ones.